Okay. Now the fun part. Oh, actually, I take that back. Let me go ahead and do. I'm gonna put some guidelines in so I know where my dimensions are gonna go. And then remind me at the end, I'll show you how to do the drawing title. I think we should do the dimensions first. Zoom out. Okay. So I'm not gonna do all 4 walls. But I'm gonna do a couple for you. Now there's a couple of nice things. So little review. What are our 3, who can tell me our 3 sets of dimensions? What are our 3 strings? What's the first string? The farthest down one?
Perimeter to perimeter.
Perimeter to perimeter. What's our second string?
Interior walls.
Yep. And then our third string is openings, correct, walls and doors. Now, all of our walls are not going to have all of our stuff in them because we have, number one, we don't have any windows on 2 sides of our unit because it's an apartment. And we don't have any openings in that wall either. So all we're gonna have for this string and this string are interior walls. We are going to dimension this interior wall on this string as well, because it's the closest one, and otherwise we wouldn't have any way to indicate this bathroom wall. But we don't have any openings in this, because this one's centered. We don't need to dimension these closet doors because they really only have one place to go. On this wall, we have a perimeter and we have openings, but do we have any walls interacting with this one? Any interior walls?
No.
Nope. So we're only going to have 2 dimension strings on this side, and this side. The only wall that's going to get 3 is this one. So in my opinion, the easiest way to do this is to start, for sure, work in light lines first so that you don't get anything wrong, and then put some guidelines in. So you know where your dimensions are going to land. So let's say I'm going to start with this one down here. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to make you do that one. I'm going to start with this one up here because it's a little more complicated. Now, kind of like in our lecture, we have 2 exterior walls on one side that we're dealing with. This one and this one. There are some who say, oops, move out a little bit. There's some who might say that you don't need to dimension this little opening here on both sides, but I like to. And we can take these guidelines down a little bit, because these are only going to have to go to that 3/4 inch mark, because they're only going to cross one string. So let's go ahead and measure. And we're switching back for a second to paper space, right? because we're spacing out these dimensions in paper space. So we want to leave about 3/4 of an inch. And then another 1/2 inch. So you can see I went and made long marks at the areas that I know I'm going to have to dimension to. And then I'm going to do a guideline across here. Where they're going to be. And I can clean these up a little bit more later to make sure. We're extending that my lines aren't too exuberant here. So I know this is what I'm going to need to fill in. Now I don't need to take this one all the way down to there. I can end it in the same place I'm ending the other ones. And just so that you all can see them, I'm going to darken them in a little bit. I know that shows up a little bit better on the demo. Oh, and I need to make sure I include this one too. This one. So those are the dimensions of I want to make sure they're not touching my plan. I can take my eraser shield and lay it nicely over my perimeter line. And just clean this up a little bit. Now I'll get these all a nice even distance.
Someone had a question,
Uh-huh.
but they're not able to use their mic. Are those lines between the walls, like by the sliding door, or are they at the end of the walls?
So right now, I'm doing this, I'm working on this wall. So I'm going to go from the outside edge to the center of one wall of my closet, to the center of the other wall of my closet, to the center of the bathroom wall, to the outside edge of where the front door is, to the outside edge of this far wall. Is that clear? Does everybody see where I got these lines from? You don't have to worry about these sliding doors or these bifold doors because they've only got one place that they can go. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my guidelines, and I can put this first value in right away because this one we know. So a good way to make sure that your lettering is right above your line but not touching it is to use your lettering guide and line it up so that the dimension line is in between a couple of the holes. And then you can just put your guidelines in and you know that it won't be touching. So I already have this value, 37'6". I can go ahead and put that in. 37 feet dash 6 inches. And your dash should have a little upward slant to it, just so it doesn't get confused with anything else.
What did you use as a reference for the dimension line for the spacing to the actual text?
I lined up my lettering guide
Mm-hmm.
with the dimension line in between the two holes.
Oh, okay.
So that'll put you roughly a 1/16 above. Because if you start going a full 1/8 above, then it starts to get a little bit close to the line above it. It can be a little confusing. So now here's where it gets fun. This is where we have to start doing some math. Sorry, it's a little mathy in here right now. Try and avoid it as much as we can. We can't avoid it entirely. I'm gonna go ahead and put my guidelines in for my numbers first. And when I say you want them in the center, again, that I'm not gonna, just do the best you can. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the easy one on this side. 1 foot 10 inches, right? We know that's 1 foot 10 because I already gave you that number. That's the easy one. One foot 10 inches. Now it's going to get a little bit more challenging. We're going to have to start doing some math. So I gave you 8'1" from this outside edge to this outside edge. But now my dimension is to the center of this wall. So how wide is this wall?
6
5
inches.
inches.
5 inches. So half of that is 2.5 inches, right?
Wait, I thought it was 6 because it was next to the sink.
This one is 6, that's behind the sink, but the one next to it's only 5, because there's no plumbing in this wall, the plumbing is behind it.
Awesome, thank you.
So we're gonna have to take our 8'1" and we're gonna have to subtract 2.5 inches. So 8'1" minus 2 inches would be 7'11", minus another half is 7'10 and a half. Does everybody see that? Y'all with me? This is again where I apologize to all the people who grew up in places where you use the metric system, which would be way easier for this than having to do feet and inches, so sorry. Seven foot. Now, our next one, we have 3'1" from the inside of this wall to the inside of this wall. But we have to add back in half of this wall and half of this wall. Does everybody see that? Is everybody with me? So 3'1" plus 2.5 plus 2.5 gets us to 3'6", right? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. If you aren't following me, say you're not following me. Don't be afraid to say you don't understand where I got that number from. Now we're gonna do the same thing here. We're from outside edge to outside edge, but we want to be from middle to middle. So we're gonna give up 2.5 inches on either side. And our 5'6" will turn into 5'1". Right? Everybody with me?
I got lost on that one. I had a different number. Okay.
Okay,
So if
So
we're
now-
at 5'6" from outside to outside, oh, okay, we're gonna take away 5 inches. I see.
yeah, we're gonna take away 2.5 on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so that takes our 5'6" down to 5'1". And now on this side, we have 19 feet from this outside edge to the outside edge of the closet. But we need to account for being halfway into this wall. So we're gonna add that 2.5 inches onto our 19. And it gets us to 19 feet, 2.5 inches. All right. Yep. Did everybody see that?
Yep.
Now here's the way you check and make sure that you're right. Grab a piece of scratch paper. And double check your math. Because we subdivided this. So all of these measurements together, if we did them right, need to add up to this. Because we have the same amount of space here, we're just marking it off, dividing it into increments. So if we add 1 foot 10 inches, 7 feet 10.5 inches, 3 feet 6 inches, 5 feet 1 inch, and 19 feet 2.5 inches.
I think I'm missing a half to 6 inches somewhere.
Where did I lose it to?
Yeah, I did the math and it worked out.
Yeah, I think I just wrote the numbers down wrong. 1 to 10. I'm having trouble with my feet and inches.
No, I think it's okay because it's 30 inches, which would be
Right, which is the 6.
2.5 feet.
Exactly. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, carry the 1, the 10, yep. 20, 30, so that's 6. That's the feet and inches thing. Carry the 2, 19, 24, 25, 26, 27, 34, 35, 36, 37. That might be the hardest part of the whole deal. I bet if you Google it, you can get a feet and inch calculator. Just gonna go out on a limb and say someone put that on the internet somewhere.
But wait a minute, I'm just trying to figure, okay, so if you have a half, okay, if we have a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, that makes a whole inch, right?
Yep, so 10, 20,
Oh, I see, then we, I got you.
21, 22, it's the whole base 12 thing.
Yep, I got
comes out
it,
even.
okay.
So that means we know we did it right. And you may want to save your tick marks until the end, again, if you're somebody who's worried about smearing, but just so that you know how to put them in. They would just go in. Like that. can see these are in 2H, my tick marks are in HB, so we want your tick marks to be nice and dark. So that is one full set of dimensions.